Looks good. Everything is fine. Don't worry. Why are there?
People
There
in
are
the
people waiting. Should we let them in?
no, don't let them.
Let them in. Is it
No.
live on YouTube? Yeah, let them in. We'll ask them about their programming background as they come in.
Okay, by the way, it's being recorded. So whatever I said now, it's all recorded.
Great.
I'll find a way to delete it.
Okay, I'm admitting them.
Okay, cool.
I'm also disabling waiting room.
Cool.
Oh, I'm not even the co-host, I think.
Make it a co-host.
Oh, I am the co-host. Okay. Yeah, so good evening, guys. As people are coming in, we thought we would quickly ask at least a few of you about your programming background. So, yeah, you can just unmute and talk about which other languages you know or whether you've done a bit of Python before.
Um, am I audible?
Yeah,
Yeah, Abhilash here. So I did C++ in school, class 11th and 12th. It was
okay.
a main subject in our syllabus, and I picked up a bit of Python in the first year and explored it a bit. Nothing much actually. So that's about it.
Okay. Right. So the next, 50 minutes or so, he's going to be talking about pretty basic concepts in Python. But after that, we'll have a 30 to 45 minutes of coding on a place called HackerRank. So yeah, since you guys, a couple of you are here already, you can just go to HackerRank and make sure you create an account. Jeevan, isn't it mandatory for them to have an account for them to be able to solve the problems? Okay, I think he's gone somewhere. Yeah, I think it is. So,
Wait, what? I
no,
was,
yeah, no, they need to have an account, right, on HackerRank for them to be able to solve the problem.
yeah,
Okay,
they created.
yeah, that's HackerRank. Um, I'll just put it on the
Can you
chat.
just put, yeah, 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 thank you. It's asking to choose a language. Which language should I choose over there?
It's asking you for making an account. I don't think it will ask you, but
I,
otherwise, you
I
have to choose Python 3.
choose your preferred programming language. It did ask me right now. I mean, I've made an account, and this is the first thing that has flashed.
Python 3, if they have it.
It's Python.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, if they have Python 3.
Okay.
Thank you.
I checked installing Python, but it is just working in CMD. So that was, I thought that it would have an integrated environment of itself.
It's working in what?
It is just a compiler in CMD.
The command line. What OS are you on? Hello.
Windows.
This okay. So you can use something called Jupyter Lab. That will have more than a command line. It's more visual. You can see the results instantly there. I'll show you during the.
Yes, I'll download it. Sitara, please check the message in Discord.
Okay. What do you mean by the grades column? I didn't get you.
There is an option of grading. I mean, it needs to go back to the site so that my grades are put on and then I can move further.
Okay, so how much have you finished? You finished like the first part of the programming thing on Grok, right? The hello world or whatever, is it?
Yes.
Okay, so
I just entered the 1D part.
yeah, in order to move to the next one, Coursera has to make sure that you have watched the other videos. So what you need to do is you can close that tab, that entire coding Grok tab, just close it, go back to Coursera, refresh the page and watch the successing what uh, watch the next videos. Basically there are a couple of lectures about pulsars and image stacking, and only after image stacking, that is lesson 4 I think, only after that it takes you to the next Grok assignment. So you have to think about the coding as just one of the units, right? And you have to complete the units in that order, and only then it works.
Okay, okay.
Does that make sense?
That
Yeah. So
makes sense.
yeah, so it's like
Yes.
finishing a homework, and then you just close your homework tab, you go back and do the next lesson before you go to the next homework. So yeah.
Which part are you going to
Yes.
be covering in this?
Sorry.
Like which part of actually are you going to like having? Are you going to like summer? Are you going to be showing like the whole Python thing is summarized, or is it like the important parts only?
Oh,
The
today.
important parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, today he's going
Okay.
to summarize the very yeah, the fundamental parts of Python in a very
Minimal
quick,
information.
brief manner.
So a lot of it, like you guys will have to do a lot of work post this. Uh,
Yeah, because that makes sense. You that takes a lot of practice to know
yeah, correct.
stuff.
But you shouldn't also be lost in learning everything. We can tell you what are the only minimum things you need to know to get started. Otherwise, you can get lost and get overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay, how many of you here, how many people have joined the call, Jivan?
Well, to
How
be honest,
many of you here have already used HackerRank?
Which one?
HackerRank, it's a website with a lot of coding challenges.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I've used Anaconda and Jupyter, I think.
Hmm. Okay, so Jivan, in the coding challenge part, what I'll do is I'll share the sheets. Yeah, I'll share the Google Sheets link with them, obviously, but I'll also share the screen. Is that okay?
yeah, that's
So that they can kind of know which category they're supposed to pick from. And then we'll ask one of them to share screen uh, while they solve the coding problem itself. And we'll take turns to do so.
sure.
So let them actually do the coding and not just,
Can you announce
talk
something
about it.
people don't
Do know about, sorry, about?
know about the current talk, current session?
Yeah. Also, since there are few more of you here, if you can see the chat there, you should be able to see a link, hackerrank.com. So please go there, take a couple of minutes to create an account. I think you can log in with Google or whatever, but there are a couple of steps you have to take. It'll just take a minute. So make sure you have an account there, because we're going to be doing a couple of problems towards the end of this talk from 6 o'clock onwards. So
should C++ be given a chance or just Python 3?
So most scientific libraries are in Python. So
Actually, having a good working knowledge of C++ will come in handy later because to begin with, you'll use Python a lot, but there are specific softwares that scientists use which are completely written in C++. So if you know it, you will have like a better, you'll have an edge. For example, in particle physics, there are a couple of libraries and tools basically which are written entirely in C++. So it depends. But Python is
Will
the
I,
most generalized. Yeah,
Okay.
will I use Python 2 or Python 3?
Python 3.
Python 2 is getting outdated, as in deprecated. It won't be supported anymore. So Python 3.
Okay, I'm going to be announcing on the groups now. There's still a few people who have to join. But in the next 2-3 minutes, I've sent a link on the chat. Um, that link
Is this
works, right?
exclusively for the Pulsar group or is it for all of us?
No, no, no. This today's coding session is for everyone because the other groups should also have a working knowledge of it, including the white dwarfs. Actually, it's essential for them. But I've
Yes.
sent a hello world problem. I'll send the link again. Yeah. Can you guys click on the hello world problem and just try to finish it in the next 1 or 2 minutes? You should be able to get familiar with the design of how HackerRank works as well. Did you put it on Discord as well?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Just
Yeah, in theory, guys might not join.
Okay. How many of you are not done with the hello world problem?
I'm still reading it.
Okay. Okay.
My hacker rank page directly started with the A plus B problem.
What problem?
Summation of two.
Yeah,
Oh.
nothing that you have to do it to log in and stuff.
Uh,
Sorry, I'm also having the same problem. That first A, B something.
It's just a return A plus B statement. Yeah, after doing that, it'll ask you are you a professional or student and all that. So I think you have to do it regardless.
Even if you click on that link, hello world link, even then it goes to A plus B.
Yeah, bro. I think you need to complete that to set up your account.
Okay, maybe it's a basic test.
this was not there when
Yeah.
I joined. I think it's
Can
in.
you can you please help me out? I'm like really
You
blank
can
right
just
now.
log in with
Asking for
Google.
user ID and
I
password.
They have
logged.
they have
I,
they have given a hint. See, literally copy the same thing. Return A plus B.
oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, most of these are very simple because HackerRank is trying to teach you Python, while you're solving it. So, someone's asking for user ID and password. Can you send it?
Uh,
May I know what's going on here?
Hi. Okay, all the new people. Today we're going to be learning the basics of Python, and at 6 o'clock we're going to start a hands-on coding session. So please go to the chat box and make an account on hackerrank.com. You can see it.
We can just log in with our Google account. No need to create.
Can someone resend the link, please?
Okay, okay. Oh, I thought people can see previous stuff.
No, 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 it can't.
Okay, okay.
I go for login for students or
Yeah, I think you can go for that. Also, we'll give a couple of minutes at 6 o'clock, so it's okay. I think we should get started now, right,
what
Jivan?
do I go to exactly? Login for developers or login for
I think go for developer one. Not sure.
No, what? Let him do login for students or something.
Is there something special?
No, it's just collecting data, I guess. I don't know.
it's asking
There are
for
just two
login for
options:
company,
developers or
login
companies.
for developers.
Yeah, yeah, go for that. Go for developers.
Developers, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I think Jivan, we should start because we'll anyway be giving a 3-4 minutes time period after 6 o'clock to kind of set your HackerRank account up in case you've not done it already. Um, so I don't think I have to give much of an introduction. Some of you might have seen Jivan on the Discord page, and he's basically a professional software developer. He's a full stack developer basically. So he deals with both Python, JavaScript, React, and so on. Uh, Quite a lot of programming languages, and I personally learned Python from him as well. So thank you for being a part of this and for also saying yes to giving the Python talk today. Yeah, let's hear from him. And a
Uh,
small heads up, I guess, if yeah, you can it can be interactive, right, Jivan?
yeah, it can be
Yeah.
interactive.
So he's going to be kind of coding as well. So if you have a question while he's doing that, you can unmute and ask him.
Okay. How do I see the hands raised? I'll stop sharing for. How many of you not have not done programming at all, like ever? Any programming? One, like not even C plus plus or C. Okay,
I
just
think 4 to 5. Yeah.
oh, not bad. And how many of you have done programming in some other language but not Python?
C++.
Okay, most of you. Okay, so the rest of you know Python, I think, already.
Just basics.
Okay,
Yeah, I have done, but not too much. Like, I didn't get into depth.
okay, cool. So we'll cover some basics of Python. We'll try to cover in 60 minutes. Um, there are a lot of concepts in Python, but we don't have to go through all of them. Maybe the most minimal that uh, can get us started very quickly. So this is the scope that we'll learn today. Some basic rules of Python, uh, data types, variables, and lists, dictionaries, loops and conditionals, functions, and external libraries. And then after that, we'll all try to solve some problems on HackerRank. Uh, so let's get to the basic rules of Python. So if you have done C++, um, you guys are familiar with some of the programming terminologies, but some things are different in Python, not like other languages. Uh, One basic rule is when you name the variables, you always use a snake case. It's not a rule, it's just a convention. In other languages, you might see that it's camel case like this. In Python, it's convention that it's in snake case. And one other rule is indentation. In C++, you know that there are braces. Uh, so if you have to write some statements inside a condition, you enclose them inside braces. But in Python, you just give four spaces like this here. Um,
Or a
and
tab.
Yeah, or a tab. Uh, so you can enclose all the statements inside this block of a tab or four spaces instead of brackets. Like Python doesn't have brackets and stuff, so braces, and no semicolons either. C++ has semicolons, Java has semicolon. Python doesn't have semicolons. It's very readable and very clean code. It almost looks like English, so that is why it's preferred by scientific community. Most scientific libraries are written in Python because it's very easy to read, uh, and comments are written like this with a hash, and multi-line comment is like this. Um, so comments are not executed by the code. It's just for your understanding. If you want to describe your piece of code, you can use comments. And we'll start with our first line of code that everyone learns in their first programming class. It's hello world, printing hello world. So if you say print and in brackets, if you give a statement called hello world, uh, it just prints it back to you on the screen. Cool. Those are the basic rules to begin with. Uh, let's look at what variables are. So variables are just boxes inside a memory, labeled boxes inside a memory. So if you want to store something in the computer memory and you give it a label like this, for example, my int has the value 4. So this is a real number, this is a character, and this is a string. So you give them some labels inside memory, and you give them a value, uh, so that next time when you want to refer to this value, you can refer to it by the label instead of the value directly. It's similar to mathematic variable only. X plus y, y plus z, all these are variables. So it's similar in Python as well. For example, you can see x equal to 1. Now if you do print of x, it will print 1. Y equal to 2. If you do print of y, it will print 2. So inside computer memory, x is stored and then 1 is assigned to it, similar to this box. So this will have x and this will have 1. So now next time when you want to access these values, you can call them x and y instead of 1 and 2. So when you have to use it in an equation called x plus y, these labels will be replaced by their actual values. So x plus y will give you 1 plus 2. Uh, so in Python, you can use all the mathematical operators directly. So multiplication is this symbol, star, x into y will give you 1 into 2. X by y will give you 1 by 2. So percentage is modulus. So modulus means it's the remainder of the division. So when you do 1 by 2, uh, the quotient is 0 and the remainder is 1. So you get 1. And you also have expressions where you can compare two variables. For example, x is greater than y is false because x was 1 and y was 2. So when you compare x and y, uh, so x is not greater than y, so that's why it says false. You can also check if x is equal to y. So when you compare two variables, you use double equals and not single equal, because single is assignment and not comparison. Single equal is used to uh, store a variable or assign a value to a variable, but double equals is used to compare two variables. Yeah. Any doubts so far?
I think you should also clarify the double quotes and single quotes thing, like I think in the print statement that you showed.
Yeah, different kinds of data.
Yeah, so far. Okay, I'll come to that. Anyway, uh, so these are some of the built-in data types. Uh, you have integers, you have float, you have string and boolean. So integers are uh, just numbers without the decimal part. Any natural number or positive, negative, any integer is an integer. So how do you check the type of a variable in Python? So you assign a value to a variable and then you say type of that variable name. It will give you the type. So it says integer here. If you have done other languages like C++, you know that you have to specify the type um, while declaring the variable itself. You have to say int x or float x, something like that. But in Python, you don't have to declare any type. Python evaluates the type on its own. So you just have to assign it value, and Python knows the type on by itself. For example, you named a variable called pi and you assigned it 3.14. So this is the type. This is of type float. So if you say type of pi, it will say float. Uh, so floats are numbers with decimal point, and integers are just uh, the same as mathematical integers. And then string is just a bunch of characters. Uh, it can even be a sentence. Nakshatra is awesome. So string is just a bunch of alphabets, or it can even be numbers. But it is used in double quotes. And if you see the type of that variable, it will say str. And boolean is just true or false. Um, it can even false. And if you check the type of this variable, it will say bool. Uh, so these are the four data types that you need to know: integer, float, string, and then boolean. So anything that has a true or false value can it's a boolean. Anything that has characters is a string. Anything that has a real and decimal part, and that's a like a fractional number, it's a float, and whole number is an integer.
I have a question. So, what is actually a difference between string and print?
Difference between string and print.
Yeah.
um, that's a weird question. So string is a data type and print is a function. Okay. uh, so print, anything you give to print, it will print to the console. For example, print of 5 will give you 5. Print of hello will give you hello. But string is the data type of the variable that you store. For example, name equal to some string. Uh, so this is string. String is a data type. Anything that has text is string. Anything that is numbers is integer, and print is for printing the value to the screen. So if you do print of name, it will print these variables onto the screen.
What is
Single and
return?
Sorry.
Sorry. What is return? Because I made that account. It says type return A plus B. So what is that exactly?
So that will
May
become
I?
yeah.
So return function causes you to return that value basically. That word return itself, it shows that the um, function, whatever comes afterwards, is say return a plus b. Let's take this example only. So it will return, the function will return a plus b. Whatever is a, it will take a, whatever is b,
Okay.
b, and it will add them up and then it will return that value.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, return is something that is part of functions. We'll come to that later. Um, yeah, so variables are clear, I hope. Arithmetic operators are Clear. Comparisons are clear. I hope you can ask doubts if you want. Data
I think
types.
single and double quotes are, I mean, interchangeable, it seems here.
Yeah, that's a good question. So in Python, you can use anything, but just use it consistently. If you start with single quote, end with single quote. If you start with double quotes, end with double quote. It's the same thing. It's not evaluated separately. It's the same thing.
Thanks.
Um,
Can you repeat the boolean type? But you define h is earth flat equals to false, then type bool. But if we define this as true, then what happens?
if you define this as true, it's still bool. So anything that is true and false is bool. Okay.
Oh, okay,
Bool has only two types of values, that is true and false.
okay, thanks.
I think C++ doesn't have bool. I'm not sure. I think C doesn't have boolean, but this has true or false. Okay.
One doubt in variables, you showed equal, double equals is basically in comparison. You said whenever you compare something, it will say true or false on its own.
Correct.
How is that possible?
Uh, the Python language itself does it. Um, so it knows the value of x, it knows the value of y. So it is just checking for equality. Uh,
Huh.
so when you use double equals, Python compares them and gives you the result of true or false.
Hmm.
So a question for you: if I do type of this expression, what should be the output?
Bool.
Good. It should be good. So anything that is a comparison will always return true or false. Will return a boolean.
Basically, basically any comparison is a bool in Python.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And one question, bool in Arduino especially, we use bool so value, so you get a float value basically. Whenever we use bool x, then we say whatever value we get is a boolean value. In other words, a float value. How is
Sorry.
in Arduino,
Okay.
we use the prefix, we use the keyword bool.
Okay.
So whenever we use the keyword bool, we say bool x is equal to some number, or we just yeah, we can say 4.5. If we say bool x is 4.5, then uh, we will it will I mean when we use it, when we define something as bool x, then the variable is set at float. How is it possible even in Python?
So in Python, when you declare or use variables, you don't define the type. So you just use it directly. Python will automatically know the type. So if you say 4.5, it knows that it's a float. If you say true, it knows that it's a boolean. So it will automatically derive the type for you. So you don't have to tell Python what type it is.
Okay.
And like you
It's
can,
predefined.
it's predefined. Yeah. So
What if I needed to get a float value instead of a integer value when when I did whatever I did?
so other way around, you mean? So when you used 4.5, you want the integer part of this, right?
Yes.
You can just do int of x. You will get 4. So this is called type conversion. So converting one type to one other type. So when you convert
Okay.
float to integer, the float part, the decimal part is gone. It will just retain the integer part. So this is how you convert one type to another type.
Okay.
I think the modularity of Python makes it more versatile compared to C++, isn't it?
Uh, can you define modularity?
I mean, this entire thing, you can just do one change and you assign the value. For example, x is equal to 1.5, and then you write int x. So it will
Correct.
give you 4. In C++, you have to first of all write int x, then you have to assign it a value, and then you have to show C out x and all that.
Exactly. Yeah. So Python.
This makes it more easier to use and more efficient, code
Ex-
efficient.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Especially for non computer science students, or like from coming from scientific background for you guys, it is much more easier to get into Python because you don't have to know much of the internal details. In C++, you'll have to know the internal mechanics and of it and stuff, memory management, all this. Here it makes it extremely easy. You don't have to know the data type, or uh, you don't have to specify the data type and all that. Right. Uh, cool. Hope we can move on. Mm. So those are the basic data types that Python supports. There are more, I think, but those are the things you need. Probably only things you need. But what are data structures? Data structure is how you store certain data. Uh, for example, you will have more than one numbers to store sometimes, or you'll have a lot of strings to store, or a lot of decimal numbers to store. So how will you store them? There are different types, methods you can store them. We'll start with the list. So list is when you have a um, group of things you want to store. It could be a set of numbers, it could be like a bunch of text, a bunch of names, anything you want. You group it into one single variable and store it like this. So how it is stored inside the memories. So let's say this is a list of some names. You have foo, bar, whatever. All these are names. It's stored uh, in a sequential manner, but starting from zero. So the zeroth element will be this one. First element is this. Second element is this. Third element, fourth and fifth. So in programming, the first item in a list is always zero, as in first index is always zero. So for example, this is stored in the zeroth index. This will be in the first. This will be in second. This will be in third. Um, the way you access one of them is like that. So if you want to access this one, you will access it as cohort groups of two. Um, so you don't want to give separate variable names to each of these strings. That's why, and they are also belong to like the same label. So these are all cohort groups, right? So you want to store it in the same label in memory. So you store it in a list. So it's just a comma separated values, and it will Python will give it indexes. It will give 0 to this, 1 to this, 2 to this, 3 to this. So this is similar to C++. No, nothing, no change here. Here also you don't have to specify the type and all. Python will automatically determine the type. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Actually, I had a doubt. So this one in the types, can you interchange the types? For example, in the can one element be string, another element be integer? Is that possible? Or
Yes, in Python, it allows mix like heterogeneous data also in list, but it's
okay,
not generally recommended. Like it's you wouldn't store it that way unless it's really essential. You can store 1.5 string and whatever else true. Like this is possible. Like Python won't throw any error.
okay.
You can access.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes.
Can we perform mathematical operations, I mean arithmetic operations on those things? Like T1A dark mat. I mean, if there were some numbers in that list and we want to perform some functions or some operations on it, can we perform like that?
Yeah. Good question. So let's say we have number. So you can do x plus 0 plus x plus 1 plus x plus 2, whatever, if you want to add all of them. Okay,
Yeah.
so that will give you 15. But Python already has a function to add all of these numbers in a list. So if you write sum of x, it will give you 15. So if you have a list of integers, you can just say sum and pass the name of that list, and it will sum it for you already. It can even be float number. If you do sum of x, it will add all these numbers and give it. Yes. You can even do subtraction. You can do multiplication.
Can we perform separate, I mean, individual operations? Like,
Yeah, like like that.
yeah.
Yeah, there is no limit.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so you can combine as many operations as you want. There is no limit, uh, as long as it's valid. As long as you're not performing arithmetic operations on string, it's valid. If it's integer and float, you can yeah, perform any operation.
Okay. Thank you.
Any doubt in lists?
I have a question.
Okay.
Is a list and array are same or it's
Right.
different in?
Like if you go deep down, there conceptually slight difference, but uh, higher level they're the same. It's just a different name.
Yeah, like what is the limit of the list or array, which is
Huh.
better for
Yeah,
handling more data?
yeah, that's a good question. So in that's one more advantage of Python. So in C++, you have to define the number of elements beforehand, right? And it can hold only that many number of elements. You will have to define that like this, something like this, x int of x of 10, and it can hold only 10 elements. But in Python, it's dynamic. It can increase the size on its own. For example, if you have 1, 2, 3, this is a list. If you want to add one more element to this, you can just do x of append. Now, if you check x, it will have four elements. If you want to add more, you can keep on adding more, and it will dynamically update the size of the list or size of the array. But in C++, you can't do that. You can't resize the array. It's not so easy. So you have to define the size also beforehand. But Python is it's dynamic. So that is one more advantage.
Is Python case sensitive?
Yeah, all programming languages are case sensitive.
Okay, okay, okay.
Uh, cool. Any doubt in list? Um, so just to test your understanding, what is the last? If there are four elements in a list, what is the last index? Um, can anyone answer?
Three,
Cool.
three.
Yeah. So if you want to know the number of elements in a list, you can do length of x. So len means length. It will tell you the number of elements. So x. So this was x. Um,
Hello.
yeah.
When I joined, I had a little bit of network issue, so I didn't know what was. There was something called snake case you're talking about. Snake case. What was
No,
that?
I remember that. Okay. um, so have you done any other programming language?
Yeah, C++ and Java.
So in Java, you generally declare your variable like this. I think my variable, right?
Yeah.
So that's the convention in Java. But in Python, everything is small case and everything is separated by an underscore.
Okay. Okay.
So that's just a convention. It's not a rule.
Okay.
So
Okay.
small case and everything separated by underscore. That's just a convention.
Okay. Thanks.
Um, So we can go to dictionary now. So list is quite simple. Um, it's the same as English language list. So it's just list of numbers, list of names, list of co-workers, list of employees. So mostly homogeneous data, which you label with the same name. That's it. And let's go to dictionary. So dictionary is key and value. So you have a there's a necessity for data structure where you want to store some data with associating it with a key. For example, let's say you're storing data of person. A person will have his name, age, uh, job, city, email. So that's when dictionaries come handy. Uh, so let's say we wanted to store the cohort leader names for each cohort. So key will be the cohort name and value will be the leader's name. So key colon value and comma. Again key colon value comma. So you separate them like that and store it in a dictionary. So you start with curly braces, key colon value. So how do you access one of them? You just do the variable name and you give the key. So it will give you the value. But you can also store list also. You don't really have to store just a string here. You can store a bunch of numbers also. You can store a list also. For example, if you want to store all the cohort participants according to the cohorts, uh, obviously cohort name will be the key and list of participants will be the values. So if you want just if you want to list all the cohort participants of let's say white dwarfs, you just do cohort participants and this you call it off square brackets and then you pass the key of this extent. So it will give you all the values. Can you still see my screen? It says internet unstable.
Yeah, we can see, but your audio is slightly uh, cracking, but it's okay. Continue.
Okay. Um, cool. Any doubt in dictionary? It's similar to the dictionary that you have, the English dictionary. It has a word and meaning similar to that. So it will have like a key, and then it will have a value, something similar to that. So you can use that to remember it.
Is it stored in the same way like list in the memory?
No, it's stored in a different way. For example, um, you have a bunch of numbers and you want to search. Let's say these are the cohort names. You want to search for search if this exists or not in the list. You have to loop through each of the element to check if it exists. That's like a very costly process. Let's say there are 100 elements or like 1,000 elements. To check if it exists in a list, you have to go through each one of them in a list, which is very inefficient. But dictionary, you can access it instantly. You can check instantly. For example, if you um, let's say we wanted to check if this exists in this, then we just have to do t1 a dot matter in cohort header. So it will directly say true, it exists. It's stored in a different way. Um, the concept is called hashing. So the amount of time required to access this is instant. If you compare it with list, in list to access something or to search, it's a slightly costly process. It takes time, but in dictionary it's instant. So yeah.
Okay, in the similar way, can we search for value as well? Like now we search for T1 dark matter. So can we directly search like if Vishesh name is there in the cohort leaders?
You can.
Okay.
So you can do instead of cohort leaders, you can do values. So values will give you only the values, and then you can do this. It will again say true.
Okay.
It will say false. Good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So all these things, small things, are very easy in Python when you compare to C++.
Can't we do what we did even in say we T1A dark matter in cohort groups? Can we do that?
Um, can't we do what?
Can't we do cohort T1A dark matter in cohort groups?
No, the variable name is cohort leaders. So I think what you're asking is this.
No, for the list.
Oh, in the list. You can do, you can do. But it's just the internal mechanism. The way it searches is it has to go through each one of them. But here it doesn't have to go through. It already has hashed it. So it's the internal mechanism of how it's stored. You don't have to know it, but like right now you don't have to know it, but it's just more efficient. Like dictionaries are more efficient when you have like a key based thing, when you have to search based on key. When you have to search based on key, lists are not efficient. But you are right, you can also do uh,
Yeah, this is why we use the subprocess command, isn't it? Like if there are so many datas.
subprocess or
Yeah,
what?
subprocess is kind of parallel processing. If we want the data uh, like in simultaneous, like there are two sensors. You want the census data to be coming in simultaneously way. So we use subprocess there.
Okay.
So in order to perform the in function here,
Okay.
you require to make a dictionary, right?
No, you can also do it. So in works both in list and dictionary. Yeah. In works both in dictionary and list. Um, so cohort groups is a list. It works in list also. But I was saying, so Arya, I think one of them asked, how is it stored in memory? So if you look at this internally, to perform this in, it has to check each one of them and see if it exists. But here, it uh, it already knows where it exists when here. So it's the
So it's kind of like a linear search, right? In lists.
exactly. So here it's linear search. Here it's instant. So it's called O of one, which means it takes only one like one processing time. Here it will take n processing time. So here it's linear. Here it's instant. That's all. You don't.
Okay.
Can I add?
Sure.
Guys, I just wanted to like kind of bring to your attention how powerful dictionaries can be. You can essentially store an entire catalog of stars in a dictionary. For example, you can have star one as a key, and the value is another dictionary. So you can have dictionaries within dictionaries. So the entire set of properties of that particular star can come inside the value. So in terms of data structure and how you store information, dictionaries are really kind of powerful. So you might be using that a bit more when you start looking at data and so on.
Right.
Would you repeat what is len is? I forgot.
Len is to check the length of a list. So if a list has three elements, you can see how many elements it has by using len.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
cool. There's also tuple. So lists are usually for homogeneous data. You store a set of similar elements inside a list, but tuples you can store like different types of data, and it's you may not use it much, but if you want to mix up data type, you can use a tuple. So here you can, the difference is it's a small bracket instead of the square bracket. Yeah.
So Sitara was talking about this dictionary thing in the star catalogs, right?
Okay.
So uh, if it would be like really nice if I would be able to see it in Discord some later time.
I think we will have like another session where we actually use such Python code directly applied on astronomical data. The pulsars will be doing something similar to that pulsars group, but even otherwise, we'll have a session for everyone where we show how you can visualize this data and use some libraries like pandas to process it and so on. Maybe towards the end of the course.
Okay.
There is no import command. Then all these are basic commands. Yeah, Sagar, we have not imported anything yet because all these are inbuilt into Python. So we haven't used an external library yet, or okay. Yeah, all these are internal commands. Let's move on to conditionals. So conditionals are to make decisions. Um, so if something is true, do this, else do that, or if this, then that. So it's that. If you have studied logic theory, then you would know.
Is this similar to that ternary operator in C++?
Correct. Yeah, it's similar to ternary operator, or similar to if else only in Python, C++. Ternary is when you have to do it in single line. This is proper if else of C++. Here is a simple example for to check if a number is even or odd. So there are two cases, right? Either a number is even or a number is odd. So you need an if condition and an else. So we stored a value in a variable called num. So you are familiar with this, and then you are also familiar with mod. You are also familiar with double equals. So what we are checking is the remainder of this number when divided by 2, is it equal to 0? If that is true, we also know that an expression always returns a boolean. So we are saying if this is true, then do this. If this is not true, then do this. So you can see that when we run this program, it says 224 is even. Let's change the number. It will say 225 is odd. Uh, if you have more than two conditions, this is just if and else. But if you have if, then that, or something like that, then you can use else if to add multiple conditions. For example, here we are checking if the number is positive or negative or 0. So if it's greater than 0, it's positive, less than 0, it's negative, else it's 0 or neutral, you can say. So we stored a number in num variable. We are checking if it's greater than 0. So this will either return true or false, this expression. If it returns true, we print it. If it is not true, then we again check if it is less than 0. Again, if this is true, it will print this. If both of them are false, then it will go here and then return this. So let's see all the three conditions. If you say num equal to 1, it will print 1 is positive. If you say num is minus 1, it will say it's negative. If you say 0, it will say it is 0. Any doubts in if else?
No, no doubts.
Cool. I think we have to go a little fast. We're running out of time. So if no doubts, I'll move on. It's simple if and else. You can figure it out later.
I think this is a good point to say that if this is a bit too fast for you, please note that he's trying to cover a lot of different things. And also, it's not really the same if you don't implement it on your own. That's one thing. So solve all the HackerRank problems that we'll be giving you. And lastly, Nakshatra is going to have a course called Python for Scientists. We will be starting that mostly by November 1st week. So, whoever in this particular group is interested to learn it in more detail, as well as kind of get some expertise on the libraries, you can kind of enroll for that program. So, I know we are hurrying up here, but you can also learn it properly later.
So we'll go to loops now. So loops are something when you have to repeat something lot of times. Um, for example, I want to print this statement 10 times. So I use something called a for loop. So what I do is I ask the variable I, to go from 0 to 9 or 1 to 10, anything you can call it. So it will repeat this 10 times. If I make it 20, it will repeat 20 times. So this is how to repeat something. Uh, so all programming concepts have their own use case in your computation. So just know that these are the things possible with programming. Um, and if you can also get all the 100 numbers, so uh, instead of assigning one value to I, like I equal to 1, I equal to 2, I equal to 3, up to 100, you don't have to do that because you have loops. So you can just say for I in range 10, it will loop from 1 to 10 on its own. So you don't really have to go through each of the numbers. So Python itself will do it for you. It will count the numbers from 1 to 10. So that is loops for you. There is also while loop. It's what if you want it from 100 to 1? Yeah, good question. So here for I in range 100, so when you just say 100, it always starts from 0 and it goes up to 99. Okay, but if you want to go from a specific number to specific number, you go 100 and use the second number, you give it 121 because it always goes to the last number minus 1. So it will go from 100 and so it will go from 100 to 120. Yeah. So if you don't mention anything, yeah, if you don't mention anything, it will go from 0 to this number minus 1. If you mention a number, it will go from this number to this number. That's it. While loop, you can look it up later. But if you want a quick glance, this is how you write while. It's very similar to C++ only. So in C++, you might have I++. We don't have I++ in Python. You have to do I plus equal to 1 or I equal to I plus 1. But rest of the things are similar. Yeah. Any quick doubts and loops?
Can you just repeat for once?
Sure. So if you want to repeat something for n number of times, let's say n is 10, and you want to repeat uh, something for 10 times, then you do for one more variable that you have to loop from. You say for I in range 10, which means I should go from 0 to 10 or 9 basically, because it goes up to 0 to n minus 1. Sorry. Then you say print hello. So this will print this statement 10 times. If you change the value of n to 20, it will print this 20 times.
Is anyone having a problem with what I stands for? I think maybe they might be getting confused there.
Yeah.
So when you're looping, um, you want one number to go from a starting point to an ending point. That can be anything. You can say I or you can say X also. So you just want one number to go from a starting point to an ending point. And while it's going there, you can print anything here. So while I is reaching from 1 to 20, this will be printed 20 times. That's it.
It's somewhat like a dummy variable, guys. Like you can call that anything you want, and it doesn't really matter. It only applies inside the loop. Like that particular name called I will lose importance the minute you get out of the loop. It doesn't carry any meaning. So, yeah.
Yeah. So how
Can we square any number inside the loop?
yeah, so if you want the first 10 perfect squares, you can just do I into I. So you can get 0. So you can see that I is starting from 0 and going all the way to n minus 1. So and 9 is n minus 1 and 0. So you can see that it's going from 0 to 9. You can also see
So basically, we have to type I. We have to type
I plus 1. Type what? Okay.
Actually, can we go for first 100 prime numbers like that? Any program do we have?
So you'll have to write the logic for prime numbers. So Python doesn't provide you to generation of prime numbers. So you have to write your own logic for prime numbers.
That's a great exercise.
Yeah, that's a
You can
homework.
definitely try it.
Let's say you want first even numbers. That's much more easier. I can show you. So let's say 10, right? So you can say there are multiple ways to do it.
Two star I.
Yeah, you can do two stuff. So these are first 10 even numbers. If you want odd numbers, it's maybe 2 star I plus 1. Yeah. But prime number is a slightly uh, harder logic compared to this. It's not like one line. So you might have to write a separate function to check if the number is prime and then print it. Okay, we'll get to that. So,
Hello.
So one question which I was asking is powers I, can I have I raised to 10 say, so I have to write I into I into I into I into I into I into I.
You can do I double
yes,
star 10.
yeah, you can do I double star 10. So I raised to 10 is just double star. Yeah. Cool. We'll go to functions. So functions are a bunch of code that you put group together, and they do one task. Um, so it's just a meaningful block of code that belong to um, belong together. For example, how to if you want to calculate the velocity, it requires two information, that is distance and time. So you had asked what is return. So when you do return distance by time, and when you call the function like this, it will give you the velocity. And similarly, acceleration, you need two velocity, initial velocity and final velocity. So you can write this formula like this, so that each time you want to calculate acceleration, you don't have to write this formula every time. You can just call acceleration. It just abstracts the code for you. So someone reading the code will easily understand when you say acceleration. They'll know that you're computing acceleration here. But if you see this, maybe they won't understand because this code might get more and more complex. Here it's just one line, but you can also add like 100 lines of code here, and it can belong to one thing. Maybe mass of a star. I don't know, something like that. Distance between two stars. It can be like a one block of code, and you can give it a function. Um, So for prime number, you can have something like is prime, and then pass the number, then do the logic of each prime number. Uh, and when you want to generate the first 100 prime numbers, you just loop through numbers and see if each one is prime using this function. So you don't have to write that code there. You can abstract it using a function. Any doubt with these names? Like why is it called this? Like how is it passed?
I think it'll make more sense if you embed the function into a full program. Maybe just use velocity and acceleration itself and just
Okay, give me an example.
yeah, you can first take some inputs maybe, and then you can kind of write some print statement, which calls the function basically.
Okay, uh, let's say 2 minutes or seconds. So velocity is uh,
Distance by. There is a comma.
sorry. Oh, didn't enter the distance. I don't know if this is making sense to you, but maybe this is only better. Like you can just say. By the way, this variable here, it's dummy variable that is used within the definition of the function. But you can use a different variable when you call the function. For example, you can say d and t, and when you call velocity function, you can pass d comma t. So it will just these are just placeholders. Okay. So when you write a function, these are uh, placeholder variables. Those need not be the same as when you call the function. You can name it anything you want outside. Does it make sense? It's just like a definition of a function and just placeholder values. Doubts?
I had a question. How do you call functions from a different library in Jupyter? We have used that in Python. We use the import command.
Correct.
Do
So
you do
let's
the same thing here?
yeah.
Okay.
So let's say you want square root. So Python doesn't have square root by default, as in without importing a library you can't do square root. So you need to do import math, and math has the square root function. So math dot square root, you can say 16. It will give you 4. This is one way of
Okay.
doing it. Other way of doing it is from math import square root. So you're just importing one of the functions from that library. Now you can just do square root. You don't have to do math dot square root. So this is how we call functions of belonging to a library. If but print and stuff like that are inbuilt functions. You don't have to import anything for print. But if it belongs to a different library, you have to import it first and then call it like this. Any doubts?
What if we don't need any placeholder values?
That's a good question. It's called a void function. So let's say you just want to do something, but you don't want to pass it any values. Let's say, I don't know, just greet.
A simple print function. Yep.
Yeah, it will just say print hello. So each time you call greet, it will print hello. That's it.
No, I'm asking, I'm going to pass it values.
Okay.
But it is actually a void function. Basically, I'm trying to say I have no placeholders. I directly import my global variables. Can I do that?
Uh, yeah, you can do that. So you're saying you don't want to pass anything here, but it will still use a variable here, right? So let's say hello
Yeah.
name. So if you call this, it won't work because name is not defined. So if you now define, it will work. Is this what you wanted?
Yes. Thank you. So I don't have to use any global bulky koi word, right?
That will come when you have conflicting
Yeah, I
names.
guess this one is working here because this definition of the function and the name variable that you're using are in this same file, right? But if you were to import this command this
Then you can do
function from
something.
some other file, then this might not have worked.
Yeah. So yeah, I think those are not required for now. You'll mostly use, like, you don't have to get into global and all that. I think we can stick to this. But if you really want to use a global variable, you can also do this. Cool. Any other basic doubts? Someone asked, we are not using semicolon. No, Python doesn't have semicolon, and it doesn't even have braces. No braces and no semicolons. No decoding.
Can you repeat that point about global?
Uh, sure. Maybe this is a global is parameter is global. So here it takes the global variable by default. Um, so even you don't have to pass the name. Uh, yeah, that's it.
Also, you said that you can take a math thing that's square root from the library. So what if I don't know a command for factorial? So how do I find it?
So you just have to go to the library's documentation. So let's say you're using NumPy documentation. So you can just go to the docs of NumPy documentation. It will have all the functions. If you go to API reference, it has um, creation, manipulation, all this. Let's say you want to go to Python's math library. If you go here, it will show everything. So there is ceil, combination, factorial. So you asked factorial. So you can see here that it's math.factorial. It takes one integer as a parameter and returns the factorial. So using this documentation, we can run the code. We can say math.factorial of, let's say, 5, and we'll get 120. So even if you don't know how to use it, you can just Google for it or go to the math library. You can see all the functions here. It has is finite, is not a number, is square root, so many things.
Thank you. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, so these are the basic things you need to know in programming to get started. Variables, expressions, conditionals, data types, loops, and functions. If you know so much, you can write almost like most of code. at least for scientific computation. These are enough, I feel. If you practice these things enough, you can almost code anything. Of course, you will have to use external libraries. Um, so there are some very good libraries for scientific uh, computation. Like NumPy is for numerical computing. It has any number related operations. It has inbuilt, and it's very fast also. So instead of using Python itself to do certain things, you can use NumPy. I have a quick example. So if you want to create mean and median, NumPy has it inbuilt. Um, so you just import NumPy. As means instead of calling it numpy dot, since numpy is too long, you can have like a alias for it, call it np. So from now on you can use it as np instead of numpy dot array. Um, so Python doesn't really have functions such as mean, median, and matrix multiplication and all those things, but NumPy has all those things inbuilt. So you can use NumPy uh, for doing mathematical um, operations, like higher level stuff. But basic mathematical operations are supported by Python itself. And you can use matplotlib for plotting. This is a small example. It just takes so again you're importing matplotlib, and one of the functions you're importing from matplotlib, and you're giving it a name called pld, so that it's easier to call it later. And this is a list. You know that this is a list. It's a list of numbers. You're storing it in X. This is again another list. You're storing it in Y. And then you can, so it has a function called plot, and you pass the X and Y values. So it will plot X and Y. That's it.
Is there like a good book for AstroPy or Matplotlib?
Sorry?
Is there like a good book for reference of this Matplotlib and
Uh,
AstroPy, etc.?
so I don't.
I think there should be some textbooks, but the best way to learn it is to really use like a reference course or a notebook. We have some notes that we've made, so we'll send those to you. So you basically have to execute those commands and play with it. And if you don't understand something, you have to also learn how to Google those things and learn it. So that's the best way. We'll send some reference notes soon.
But I would say best way is to by doing only. So you must beforehand make a list of whatever things you want to plot, and then just read the documentation of how to do it. For example, you want a scatter plot, you just Google matplotlib scatter plot. You can go to the official documentation. You'll have a small example there most of the time. Mhm. This is the code for scatter plot. And then if you understand the code, uh, then you already know how to do scatter plots instead of reading the textbook. It's is what I feel. You can have some goal in mind and try to perform it using the library.
Okay.
You have some more libraries, pandas for data analysis. So in machine learning, you want to first do the analysis on the data sets, like statistical data analysis, and pandas is the best library for that. It has so many things, all the statistical operations inbuilt. And scikit-learn is there for machine learning. AstroPy is for astronomy. So that's the advantage of Python versus other libraries. You don't really have all such cool libraries for science. It's somehow adopted by the scientific community because of its ease of use and readability. So everyone started writing in Python. So we are stuck with Python now for science mostly. There's also Julia and other languages, but still, 80% of the time you would have to use Python if you if you want to do anything, any project in science. Yeah.
Cool. Do you have anything else left, Jivan? Or can we move to the coding tasks?
We can move to the coding task.
Okay. So if you all can just check the chat box, Jivan, you can continue sharing, but you can just click on the link that I've sent.
The Google document.
Yeah. Sheets. Yeah. You can continue sharing like the whole windows. Okay. So those of you, yeah. So those of you who've kind of not ever executed any code on Python before, you can start with the beginners buffet, and then you can move to the main course, which is, even if you have a little bit of understanding, you can solve all of them really easily. Yeah, and finally, if you're a bit more confident, if you've done some amount of coding before, you can go to the desert section. It's pretty easy. We've not picked really hard problems, so you can directly go there if you're very confident. And those of you who want to specifically learn the NumPy library, this is a great way to do it, because HackerRank kind of teaches you NumPy as you go along with it, so you can do that as well. Yeah, Jivan, he'll show you like the basic format of how HackerRank works.
So you have the problem statement here. It might look complicated, but it's quite simple. You just have to go to the example and you'll understand it. So here they're asking you to just print hello world. They're almost giving you the code, I think. So you just have to print hello world to the screen. So you just type hello world, and you can run the code to see if it passes the test cases. Then you can submit the code. It will have some more test cases. uh, that's it. If you want another, everyone can start with this to get familiar with HackerRank, how to submit and all that. After that, you can go move on to other problems.
So for the next 20 to 30 minutes, each of you are going to you're obviously going to solve the problems, but we want some people to share your screen and then kind of code it in front of us. So let's start with someone who's kind of not done much Python before. So you need to start with like the first category of problems. Any volunteers? You just have to quickly share your screen and kind of we will be helping you to solve the problem. You don't have to really do it on your own. It's just for you to understand how it works. Anyone? Ashutosh, you want to try?
All right.
Okay. So, I think you have to give him permission.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay, you should be able to share your screen now. Just try it.
Yeah. Print. What do I have to print?
So can you guys do it in Python 3 itself? You can change that from PyPy 2 to Python 3 in the drop down.
Right. I usually use Python 3.
So you can try running the code and see if something is wrong. So it says wrong answer because it's not matching the expected output. So can you fix that?
What do they expect?
They expect hello, comma, world with the correct spelling.
So HackerRank is a bit
Strict.
I don't know what the
Still,
word
its
is.
wrong explanation is not there. Still wrong.
And
Yeah, they look for like perfect output, because like there is a computer program sitting there which is checking your output. So you have to put in exactly what they want.
also this is a practice for accuracy for you guys.
Also an exclamation mark, buddy.
There's an exclamation mark, yes.
Yeah.
We're done with the first one. Can you do the second one?
Yeah. Can you do the second one as well? Someone wanted to do, or I can find it.
Yeah, let Ashutosh do the second one as well, and then we. Can you go to the next problem, Ashutosh?
Yeah.
After doing the first one, we click the second link in the Google Sheet, right?
Correct.
Say hello world.
So you open the same thing. You can also click on that.
Yeah, but I would rather use the same.
Same window, same tab.
Yeah. Arithmetic operators. What do they want me to do? Basically, the first line contains the sum of two numbers. The second line contains the provide the code from two integers from stdin. What is stdin?
It's standard input, but you don't have to worry. You already have the variables a and b.
And the code to print three lines where the first line contains the sum of two numbers. The second line is the difference of two numbers. Okay, first minus second, and the third line contains product of two numbers.
So you already have a and b. You just have to print the output now. Can you switch to Python 3 again? I don't know why it's always Python.
Python 3. A plus B. And a quick question. Jupyter Notebook is just another code editor like VS Code, right?
VS Code is more, it's an IDE, but Jupyter Lab is not as, it doesn't have so many, as much features as VS Code. And VS Code can support any language, but Jupyter Lab supports only Python. So those
Is
are.
there something like endl or something here to change the line?
So when you do print, it already appends a new line by default. You don't have to put that.
Okay.
But if you really want, you can use /n, \n.
Can someone else quickly share the screen now for the
Hold on.
fifth problem? Who wants to do it? I think someone was already solving third or fourth, right? Who's that? Anirban, are you there?
Yes. You want me to do it?
Can you share? Yeah.
Sure. Just a second. Can you see the hello? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay.
Continue. Can you make it full screen? It's okay.
Sure. Task. They provided A and B. Add logic to print two lines. The first line should contain the result of the integer A. What is the double slash? Is it only the quotient?
Correct.
Okay. The second line should contain the result of float division A by B. Rounding on. Okay. Maybe. Let's test it. Okay, done.
Submit. Done. Cool. One more. Next one.
Can you pick something from second category now?
Right.
Already no problem.
Write a function problem.
Question.
Oh man, I've had some problems with leap year always. That caveat that every
So maybe
year that
we should
ends
skip
with a
this.
00 should be.
Can you pick the other problem? Leap year has too many details,
Yeah, too many
which
caveats.
doesn't really teach you much of programming in the end.
What is it? Let's use the knowledge to set up make a
Yes.
average of all the planes with distinct heights in Equinox.
So you don't have to touch that. So it already
Wait.
Python 3.
Why am I getting this code block here?
So they have written that code for you already of taking input from the user. They have done that already for you.
So what am I supposed to do?
You're supposed to get the average of unique plants, distinct elements.
Where is my? Okay, there is a list. Okay.
It's a list. That variable is called array in the average function.
Can you explain me? I think. Yeah.
So just I can explain, but you don't really have to understand that at all. You can hide it. I can give you the rephrased problem statement. So
Okay,
just
sure.
go to average, the first function. So the first line of the code.
Okay,
Just hide the fourth thing. Yeah. So let's say you have a function called average, which you're supposed to fill. I'll give you a list, which is called array. You have
Oh,
to.
your code goes here. I didn't notice this thing.
Yeah. So you have to write your code there.
Yep.
And the
I
problem
need
statement.
to define average, right?
Out only of the unique elements. You should ignore the duplicate elements.
Okay, got it. How do you input a list? I forgot.
No, you don't have to input at all. It's already stored in the variable called array, so you can start using it directly.
Okay.
You can kind of verbalize your logic because I think you might not be familiar with all the commands. So just kind of talk about what you want to do next and we'll
Yeah,
help you.
now I want to extract all the different variables in the, different elements in the array that we are going to input and sum them up. Oh, I get it. Yeah, I guess they should do it.
Correct.
And then I'll just give it. And then some. I think they should do the trick.
But in function, you always have to return the output.
Yep, I need to return, right? Indentation is correct, right, in this one?
No, the return is also within the same indentation.
Okay.
I think you have to write someone over here, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that's correct. You're supposed to write someone. So in line number, like there are more mistakes, but this is one of the mistakes. So in line number 5, you're saying sum by len of array, but sum is like an inbuilt function. Sum is not the variable. Sum one is the variable.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Yep.
But this is still not correct.
Okay.
Because the problem statement is unique elements only.
Oh, all right.
All the elements. Correct.
So I have added the duplicate ones too, right?
You add the duplicate ones as well. So
is there any specific function that I can use to get the sum of unique ones?
Correct. So there is another data type called set. So set always has unique elements. So
okay.
And also in Python, you can convert from one data type to another data type, right? So array is list. How would you convert it to a set?
We'll just assign that array a new data type. Type of array equals maybe something like that.
No, if you remember, I showed you how to convert float to integer, right? So you say int of float. So if you just do set of array, that will be converted to, yeah, perfect.
Set of array. Do I need to use an equal sign here?
So this will give you the set. So don't you want to store it somewhere? You can call it something.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, get it.
Yeah. Now you just have to do.
I need to do. I used to need to use k here, I think.
Correct.
Total number of distinct heights. So k again. I think this should be good.
Only problem is some is applicable on list. I'm not sure if it's applicable on set. So you can try it, run it and see.
I think it works.
Yep, it works.
You can submit.
Submit the code.
One question. If I want to print something through a function, just if I say return whatever my value is, it will print it out for me, or
It won't really print it. You have to explicitly use print statement. If you look at line number 14 on the screen, it is getting the return value in line number 13 and then it's printing.
okay. Can that guy show me the screen once, please? I want to see line number 13.
Oh, okay, sure.
There's one more option of printing it from within the function. Like sometimes you want to do that, but if you're returning it, then you have to have a print statement in your main program.
Did you want to see this one? This one?
Line number 13, average function is called and it's stored in result variable, right? Because it's not really printing, it is just storing in result. And next line is printing it. So when you call average, it doesn't print it, it just returns it. You'll have to call print.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, got it.
Someone wants to do the next one? Aditya?
We'll just do last two more problems, and then we recommend that you can, you try out all the problems in the sheet on your own, later on.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Can you show me the second one? I'm actually using it on my phone and I don't know what's happening.
It's a bit hard on phone.
Yeah,
which one should I do?
Second one, please.
Which leap year?
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which category? Do you want the first one, beginners?
Yeah, beginner second one.
The leap year one.
No, for Kritika.
No. She's talking about the beginners category, no?
Okay.
Yeah, beginners.
Even can you share and show her?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, just a second. Oh, did you ask me or Jeevan?
You can do.
I asked Jeevan.
Oh, okay.
I had another doubt.
Just a minute. I think it was a by b and a. What is it? No, a plus b, a minus b, and a into b. That's all. What is your error, Kritika?
Hello?
Yeah, what was your error?
Yeah, actually I did the second one, the first, instead of the first a plus b, I did a minus b and thing, and actually I'm using it in my phone. So there was a lot of mistake there.
First one is always a plus b, second one is a minus b, third one is a into b.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Someone wanted to do the next one? Loops.
Let's pick some nice problem, no? Can someone try migratory birds you can try. I don't know if that's a bit hard. I think it's easy only. Who wants to do migratory birds?
Why not diagonal difference? That's a good one.
Sorry?
Diagonal difference.
Is that category 2?
Yeah, it's category 2. Maybe that's hard. Let's look at something.
No, I only
Why not?
straight.
Why not NumPy?
No, 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 not now. Not NumPy now. Oh, sorry. Migratory words was category 3. Sorry. Um, you can do diagonal difference, I think, is easy, and introduction to sets you can do later. Yeah, can someone do diagonal difference? But it's a little bit mathy, so if you guys are going to be using Python with a mathematical context, it'll kind of help you learn it. Okay, I'll have to call out names. Srijaya?
Actually, I was thinking of seeing that one.
Yeah, yeah, go to that one. You can, that's, Srijaya, are you here?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here, but I'm like using Zoom on my phone and like
Oh, okay,
uh,
okay.
using the, yeah, on desktop.
Disha, what about?
Actually, where is Mati?
Yeah, I can do it, but I'm not really sure of it. So,
No,
shall I?
we'll help you with the code. You just have to share your screen
Okay, yeah.
and go to this, I think third problem
No,
in
I get
second.
the I got the link. I'm little weak in programming, so I'll give it a
No,
try.
we're here to help you, so it's okay. Just go to the link.
So I cannot share screen. Can I? Oh, yeah.
You cannot share.
Which one is Mati again?
No, diagonal difference I think has a little bit of math in it, so just try. I'm not sure.
Not really. It
Okay.
It doesn't have, is it? Okay. I don't know. I just from memory.
Can you see my screen?
Hmm.
Okay.
So you can just do left angle first.
Given a square matrix, calculate the absolute difference between the sum of its diagonal. For example, the square matrix ARR is shown in below. Okay. Function description. Okay. How am I supposed to start? I'm not sure.
There are three parts to this question.
Mm-hmm.
You have to calculate the left diagonal sum, then you have to calculate the right diagonal sum, then the difference between them.
No,
Correct?
like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's stored in a two-dimensional array. So you understand arrays, right? You
Yeah,
have to program.
I do understand arrays.
Correct. So it's stored in two-dimensional array. So 0, comma 0 is the first one, 0, comma 1 is um, the first row, second column, first row, third column, and then 1, comma 1. It's like that. You get
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
So what can you think of a formula or a pattern for finding the diagonal, the left diagonal?
Left angle. Oh, so, yeah. Can I like take elements in it and then add it together, or
Yeah, yeah. Just describe it in your own words. What would you do mathematically if you had to kind of just pick out the diagonal, left diagonal elements?
left diagonal elements? Okay. So if I had to pick out left diagonal elements, then okay, we cannot use it. Okay.
So can you name the indices of left diagonal?
159.
Correct. Those are the values.
Yeah.
So there is one located. It's 0, comma 0, right?
What?
Can you name the indices, like the index values?
Yeah.
Because
So, yeah. Okay. 0, 1. One. 1, 1. No. One. Yeah. 1, 1, and Zero comma, if it's like starts from zero, it's 0, 0, 1, 1, and 2, 2.
Perfect. Yeah. So you already kind of found a pattern. Yeah.
So okay, okay. So just I need to add them. So how do I add them?
Um,
I'm really not getting. I don't know.
it's okay. This works for 3 cross 3 matrix, right? But what if it was a 10 cross 10 matrix? That you can't uh, predict how many rows, how many columns are there. So you have to come up with a general formula for calculating the diagonal. So do you see a pattern there? 0, comma 0, 1, comma 1, 2, comma
Yeah.
2. What is the next
Oh,
one?
okay. It's like yeah. I can use like x and x comma x. So
Exactly.
whatever it is x I can use.
Perfect. So
No, I have a trouble in writing the program. I'm not sure where to start that.
correct. So let's say there is array, right? Array has some matrix n cross n matrix.
Mm-hmm.
So we need the value of n and we start from zero, correct?
Come again?
So we go from zero all the way till n, and then we do let's say it was x,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a value of 0 to n to x. Then it will be x comma x, correct?
Mm-hmm. So I can take
Then
like
yeah. So what you need is a loop which goes from zero to n,
yeah, okay.
and
Right.
then just do I comma I x comma x. That's it. So
And you always have to write your code where under the def. Okay. So do you see that def diagonal difference?
Yeah.
Write your code here. Yeah. So you don't have to look at anything else. So you can just go there and yeah, give like a space after that or remove that line or whatever.
you can go to the next. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can start writing here. So like Jeevan said, you need a loop to first of all loop from 0 to n minus 1, right?
Correct.
N
Huh.
minus one. Oh, yeah.
Which is, so if the length of array size is 10, then you want to go from 0 to 9. So the for loop already kind of does that for you, whichever he taught today.
Okay,
For
what
I
I
in
do,
range 10.
basically I'm kind of breaking one, give me 2 minutes.
Excuse
Yeah.
me.
Okay. So okay. Now I can hear you. So what is it? Again?
Yeah, so basically he was talking about how you need to loop through from say
Mm-hmm.
0 to 9. For example, if you have a matrix of size 10, it's a square matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. So you have to go from index 0 to index 9. So
Mm-hmm.
he taught a for command today, right?
Yeah.
That for there is a range function in that line which already does that for you. So just write you can write for I in range um,
Range
right.
of some.
Right. So what is this number supposed to be inside that bracket? Something 3. But that is not generalized, right? What if they give a size, an array of the size 10? So you need to find a generalized variable to put there. So what would you put?
X. I would.
Some correct. Let's just call it X. But it has to match to that particular case. They have different cases, right? For example, they'll first run it for a 4 cross 4. Then they'll run it for a 16 cross 16 matrix. So it has to match. What is the only information you have here? You have an array, ARR, right? Inside the def, they are giving you a single thing, and that is the array itself. So all you have to do is find the size of the array
Finding a size of an array would be uh,
or the length, basically, because it's a square. Given it's a square matrix, right?
Yeah, it's always a square.
Yeah. So instead of x, can you go to a line before 18? Like, can you give one more line there after 17?
after 17, 18.
Yeah, just give one more space. Yeah, so here you can define what x is. So x is basically going to take the shape of this array. You don't have to use define def here in Python. You can directly assign. Just remove that. You can just say x is equal to, and you can just say length of array. Will that work, Jivan?
Yeah, length of array.
Yeah, it's just put length of array. So what is this doing? It's just going to array and it's checking how big it is, right? So it will take the shape of, or the size of that particular case, and then it will come to the for function and it will replace x with that number. So this will work for every scenario, basically.
Okay. So
Yeah.
now I just have to put in the formula.
Yeah, Jivan, can you help her?
Sure. So there should be a colon after range x. That's the syntax. Yeah. And next line. So our formula was it should add all
X
the x comma x, right?
Yeah.
So before the loop starts, like line number 18, you can give one more line, and you can declare a variable called maybe left diagonal sum or LDS, whatever you can say LDS, and you can initialize it to 0.
equals to 0.
Now each time you need to increment that like with the diagonal sum. So inside the loop. So you can do LDS equal to LDS plus inside the loop.
Okay.
That's when you go inside the loop, you can do no as in like next line 21.
Yeah, it has to. You have to go to the next line. So when he says inside the loop, he means the loop basically has some code, and that code belongs to that particular loop. That means it will get executed only when the loop is running. So each time the loop runs, that code will get executed again and again and again. So when you give the tab that 4 spaces, right, that means that this is the code that belongs to this particular for loop, and it will get executed repeatedly. Yeah. So now
So,
you just have to kind of
so you
um,
repeatedly add ARR of x comma x, correct? It's not, yeah. Okay. So in NumPy this will work, but in Python you'll have to do of x and of x like twice, like
Of
the array, how you access the
Inter.
two-dimensional array.
so you have to use a square bracket.
And no, no, no.
Sorry. I
Like similar to C, but separately, not comma. Instead, it should be two separate square brackets.
Okay.
Correct. You'll have to.
Wait, once again.
Here's the first one also. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 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 not
Oh.
inside. Like separate.
Yeah, they're separate boxes. Think of it like that. So you don't need to. Yeah. So yeah, let me try explaining why this is. It might seem more intuitive to put it outside, right? Like put one box inside the other box. But the way Python, can you remove that space? There's no space there between the two boxes. Yeah. Yeah, so the way it works is it's going into array. The first box that's there that has X in it is basically telling it where to go in search of the row, okay? Row, as in it will go from 0 to say 6 or whatever. So it will go to the row. The second one is the column. So inside that particular row, which column is what it's searching for. So yeah, that's basically the Python. Okay. Yeah, let's continue. So, yeah, Jivan, can you continue?
You can say LDS equal to LDS plus that.
Okay. The square bracket. Should I use the square bracket?
No, so we want to keep on adding that diagonal element, right? So we are using the variable LDS to store the previous result. So LDS initially has 0. Each time you encounter the diagonal element, you need to add to that. So in line number 21 itself, you can do LDS equal to LDS plus that whole thing.
LDS In the line 21 itself.
Yeah, the beginning of line 21. You can store this as LDS equal to LDS plus this thing.
Yes, equals to LDS plus. Okay. Okay.
Or that. So instead of equal to plus, it's plus equal to.
Okay. Plus
No,
equals
it's
to.
plus equal to. Yeah. So this will keep on adding to it. So it first time it will be 0, then it will be 0 plus the first diagonal, then
Mm-hmm.
it's first diagonal plus second diagonal, then it's like that, keeps on going. So finally you'll end up with the left diagonal sum. So maybe you can add a print statement outside of the loop to see if it's correct. You can go to line number 22 and like come out of the loop. Like if you do a backspace. Now if you print LDS, we can test our. So this problem is still not complete. We need RDS and then absolute difference, but we can test our initial code. You can run the code. So that's okay. You can ignore that. Okay, let's index out of range. Okay, go back to the code. I think we did one mistake. So instead of x, it should be I, right? Because we are looping I. X is a constant value. No, in line number 21, it should be I comma I.
Okay.
You can run. That's okay. You can go to like scroll all the way down. The output is 4. Is that correct? Can you confirm?
1 plus 5 plus. It's 15.
The input was different. Scroll all the way down.
Oh.
See the input there itself. Like all the way down.
4. Yeah, 4.
11, 5 and
11 plus 5 minus 12. Yeah, 4.
exactly. So it's correct. So you have solved one part of the problem. Now similarly, you have to find RDS formula, something you don't have to do it now, it can be homework. But you need to find a pattern for the right diagonal sum and then just get the absolute difference between the two. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think you understood the basic logic, like how to go about writing the program, right?
Yeah.
You just have to apply some a similar process. So first you have to figure out the logic, then you have to say, okay, what kind of algorithm or what is the combination of logic I need to use here. Then you have to just decide on your data structures. Like here we use a list. We decide to use a for loop like that. You have to decide what are the elements in your program. Then it's pretty simple to put it together.
Actually, I've written a program here. Can someone check it for me?
Yeah.
You can quickly share your screen if you want.
Any other doubts? Final chance.
Yeah, I'm sharing the screen now.
Even
So, okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Just a small doubt. Do we have the same AND operator and OR operator in Python also?
And or?
Operators, like do we have operators for AND and OR?
Yes. It's called and or itself, like a small case. We don't have to
Okay.
use ampersand. You can use the English and English or.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool.
Can you check it now?
What is this?
This is a bit of a complex.
Okay.
It's showing syntax error.
In line number?
In line number.
So I can always see an error. Line number 14 is wrong. You don't have to do set C equal to true. You can just say C equal to true. There is no
Line
set.
number 14, is it?
Yeah, there's no set in Python. That set is different set, the mathematical set.
Okay.
So you just Use the variable name and equal to. That's it. You don't have to set it.
Yeah, even at the bottom, he's used set.
Similarly in all other places. Yeah. 22, 26, 27, 29.
Okay, others quickly